Yes, it was not the batteries, it was, I'm gonna say that if you really want this thing to catch every single change in pitch and yaw, you should probably put the MPU at the very, very, very top of the rocket. When I was developing this one, I just wanted to see how packed I could basically get it, and thus far, this is what controls the whole thing, so you could, in theory, put whatever tube you want up there as long as this has position. Now, this is in the middle of the rocket, technically. This isn't the top, this is the middle, so that's part of why it had some funky readouts there. But as long as it's at the top, where the Vulcan is at the bottom, and yeah, so. Okay. Let's see if I can sit doing this, or am I going to have to stand? Oh, excellent. It's been a minute since I've taken this apart, so bear with me. And now, don't forget, this is just how I've wired everything up. You can wire it any way you want or any way you see fit. This is just how I was able to get this in a 3-inch diameter tube. Now, the way I have mine constructed, I'll start down here. Now the outer case, oh boy, that you see right here that holds the legs together, or to the rocket, serves two purposes. Not only does it allow for leg attachments, which I do suggest getting some dang good shocks for it, but it also holds the ring that encircles the entire pivot device. Yeah. I'm hoping here soon that I can swap out my Uno for the ESP32 board, so I can do the AI flight. And I'll be using Shellbot, my personal AI. I'll give him the information needed, flight data and all that I've actually accumulated, and give him some tweaks to where he can fly this. That should be loose. Oh yeah, that's very loose. Okay. So here comes the part right here. So here's the stand. It can be used on any 3-inch diameter tube. Now what you're left with is a super fancy tube. I'm hoping I gave myself enough wire in here, length, to continue the pull out. Okay. That should be enough. Oh, that's what I gotta do, okay. There it is. And sure enough, I didn't give myself enough cable length to fully pull it out. That's okay. Just turn her around, and now we'll take the main flight deck bolt off, which is located up here. It's just one bolt holding this in here. The actual flight deck is made to, it's like a compression or a tension fit. Friction fit, jeez. I figure I'm building a new one of these anyway, so why not take apart the old one? I'm not gonna like cannibalize this. That's usually what I do, is I'll take an older project and I'll take what parts I can from it. But I think with this guy, since it was the first successful thrust vectored rocket, I'm just going to take it apart and try and build a newer rocket off the design. Oh, now these little button switches, I'm sorry, I have them placed just there. We go. Because you cannot take this off while these are on here. I'm trying to be so careful because, my goodness, one wrong pull and you're done. And like I said, this will be a bit of a longer video than I normally make. But I wanted to give you guys a full tear down and how to, in case you decide, you know what, I'm gonna go to Gumroad, Sheltech's Gumroad, and I'm gonna buy this. You'll be getting the code and all of the STL files for the device itself. As far as the body tube and all that, you will have to find one yourself that you really like. And of course, this can be installed in something larger than 3 inches in diameter. I just wanted to see how small could I cram this into something. Woo. The real test, though, will be if I can get this back together. Don't worry, that's not in this video. This won't be going back together for some time while I examine and stuff all the things I need to. Okay. All the electronics and all the wiring are right off the shelf. So you don't gotta worry, oh dang, is this part available? Is that? The only thing you're gonna have to, there they are, worry about is finding a good 3-inch diameter tube. I found this one at Staples. And for some reason, not everything that says is 3 inches is 3 inches. It's weird. I guess that's just their measurements. But here we go. So now what I am disconnecting are the actual power and signal cables from the board to the thrust vector device. Then what you're going to want to do is disconnect just like that. I use tape for this exact reason because I used to hot glue connections together, and that was when I was under the impression, oh, it's good, it don't have to come apart. And joke's on me. 90% of this work is building and then taking apart. For those of you who are sticking around for this complete teardown, I thank you. I've noticed most people's attention spans are quite short nowadays. We have now successfully fully disconnected the flight deck from the thrust vector device. Now make sure none of your wires are pinching, catching. That's the cool thing too, is this can actually be totally rotated inside the tube. Now, let me take out the part that you will be getting if you decide to order from my Gumroad page. this is what you'd be getting. It's my own in-house, developed, built, tested, designed, all that right here. You can use actual arm actuators if you want, but I figured paper clips work just as fine for my needs. But this is the actual device, and it can take up to an F series. An F15.0 would be perfect. See, the only issue with these thrust vector devices, and I guess it's not really an issue as more of a characteristic, but you can't have an ejection charge. At least from the motor. I mean, you could probably rig up an electronic recovery method, but that would just be more electronics. That's where I came up with the whole let me get that straight. There we go. That's where I came up with the auto recovery blades. But this is the system that you'll be receiving. Every part here, except of course, you know, the servo motors, you'll have to source those. And then along with said thrust vectoring device, you'll receive the complete code, the stuff you actually upload to the board to get it to move. Now that we have the main component out, let's see how our flight deck looks. And of course, always be gentle when you're taking stuff out. If you hear any weird sounds, it's because I'm in the garage, and for some reason, a lot of traffic's driving up and down the road today. Oh goodness. Now you'll see I actually put a notch right here so your wires can slip in. And there it is. Here's your tube. See? Just a nice 3-inch tube. And what you're left with is probably one of the most complicated things I've ever worked on. For me, it was complicated. Probably because it was my first time trying something like this. But here it is. And this plastic piece right here, this plastic is what I call the flight deck, even though the flight deck would be considered the whole thing. Electronics on top of it and whatnot. Making sure everything has stayed connected. Oops, sorry guys. I don't mean to take it away from you. But you got your Uno, you got your micro breadboard, you have a buck converter, you got your two 9-volt batteries, MPU 6050 on top, and then you'll see I put a little SD card reader right there. So that little SD card is going to be able to document anything and everything that this does, and then that will be fed back into the AI to train him, or teach him, I guess you could say. It's not really. And he'll gather info off of all of that and understand that this needs to stay straight up and down and not this way, or anything like that, and he'll keep it like that. So that SD card is going to be one of the most important things on here. Now I know a lot of people like to use their own flight deck, you know, what they attach their electronics onto, but I have found this particular one that I made to work the best because it can fit in the tube, you can fully rotate it in the tube, and it doesn't hurt or pinch or crimp or anything like that, your connectors, and you still have perfect access to update the Arduino. So this is your major connections you're going to worry about. But this is just how I built mine. You can use the code and the hardware for almost anything you can imagine that needs guidance as it's flying. Oh, okay, there it is. But here it is in all of its glory, raw glory. And I'll be going around quite a bit with this, doing some more tests and experiments. I want to eventually go beyond the size of F motors. I'm going to figure a way to make this a little bit larger so it can fit the K&S motor that I built. So to have my own flight deck, software, well, program, and my own engine, this will turn out to be quite the project of the year, I think. But yep, so that is basically the teardown. It goes back together exactly the same way, and it actually fits a lot better than I was expecting. So that is that. You can get this whole thing on my Gumroad right now. If you have any issues, questions, or just plain curiosity, hit me up. Seriously, I love talking about this stuff. I love coordinating and working with others, and maybe we can get a small team going or something someday. But for now, here she be. Thank you all for checking out this lovely teardown. I'm sure the video is now like 25-30 minutes, but this is it, the basics of all the components. I know there's other people out there, BPS Space and a couple others, who've pretty much perfected this, but I think the next step would be to make it more robust, definitely. All the plastic components here, they are very good and robust. These have actually taken several falls, and they're still working just fine, but I do believe in the future all of this will be machined aluminum. So that's an exciting future for the hardware. The hardware is going to get an upgrade, and then the software is going to get an upgrade with AI control and power. But it won't be a Skynet or anything like that. It is, all it thinks about is stay straight, stay level, keep the course. So thank you again for checking this out, and I should be posting a lot more now that we have more of a centrified project to work on. I've been jumping back and forth between a lot of things, but I think we're going to stick to this one as the main project. So until next time, check out my Gumroad, check out the YouTube, and stay safe out there.